Hey, 49ers faithful. We are diving deep into all the latest developments surrounding our San Francisco 49ers, and there is plenty to unpack as the season heads into the critical stretch. Let's start by talking about the young quarterback making waves behind the scenes, Curtis Rohr. Drafted in the 7th round this past April, Rohr came out of Indiana, the 227th overall pick in the NFL draft, and he has quickly become one of the most intriguing prospects on the roster. For those who may have missed it, Rohr also had the honor of being selected in the 3rd round of the CFL draft, but he naturally chose the NFL path, stepping into a league where his potential can be fully realized. Known affectionately as the Maple Missile due to his Canadian roots, Rohr has shown incredible toughness throughout his career. He famously played through an ACL tear last season and led Indiana to one of the best seasons in the program's history. And this year, he surpassed that, guiding the Hoosiers all the way to the college football playoff, where they ultimately fell to Notre Dame. Standing at 6 feet 4 inches and weighing 225 pounds, 25-year-old Rohr has the kind of physical profile that fits well in Kyle Shanahan's system. He began his college career at Ohio before transferring to Indiana, where he thrived under coach Curt Cignetti. Cignetti, in his first year at Indiana, helped Rohr showcase his ability to manage the game from the pocket with poise and precision. Rohr's mechanics and touch on mid-level and deep throws are exactly what Shanahan looks for when designing route concepts and passing schemes. Observers note that he moves well within the pocket, enough to avoid collapsing under pressure, but he isn't the type to scramble extensively. While he occasionally struggles with leading receivers into space, his calmness against the blitz and willingness to absorb hits make him a fascinating developmental quarterback for the Niners. This pre-draft process and subsequent practice window represent a crucial audition period for Rohr. Depending on how the season unfolds, he has a shot to earn the backup quarterback spot for the 2026 season, potentially even challenging for the second-string position behind Brock Purdy if certain scenarios develop, such as trade talks around him, Jones. As the team looks toward the offseason, the quarterback landscape in college and the NFL will influence San Francisco's decisions. If some of the top quarterback prospects like Adante Moore from Oregon or Ty Simpson from Alabama opt to return to school, it could thin the draft class, making NFL teams even more aggressive in exploring trades and roster moves. For the Niners, that could mean Curtis Rohr stepping into a more prominent role than initially anticipated, gaining valuable experience within Shanahan's offense while providing depth and a potential long-term option at quarterback. Meanwhile, roster changes continue to shape the team. San Francisco recently claimed linebacker Garrett Wallow off waivers from Denver, a move triggered by Ben Bartch being placed on season-ending injured reserve following a Liz Frank injury suffered against Cleveland. This adjustment has Spencer Burford stepping in full-time at left guard while Wallow brings additional depth and athleticism to the linebacker core. These moves reflect the constant balancing act Shanahan and the front office have to maintain, navigating injuries while ensuring the roster is equipped to compete at the highest level. The Niners are also closely monitoring the health and contributions of players like Euro Matos and Jacob Cowing. Matos, a defensive end, represents a potential game-changer if he can stay healthy down the stretch, bringing versatility along the defensive line, capable of lining up at both end and tackle positions. His performance in limited action this season has already shown flashes of the impact he can provide, particularly as a pass rusher, and his presence could help address one of the Niners' long-standing issues: pressure on opposing quarterbacks. The team's pass rush has struggled, ranking near the bottom of the league in sacks, pressures, and overall pass rush efficiency, particularly in the wake of losing key players like Nick Bosa and dealing with injuries to others, including their first-round pick, Melvin Williams. Adding depth through players like Matos is crucial as San Francisco aims to regain consistency on defense while keeping their playoff ambitions alive. Another potential roster addition comes in the form of linebacker Eric Kendricks. Currently on the practice squad, Kendricks could see a game-day elevation, offering experience and proven tackling ability to a linebacker group that has seen its share of injuries and movement this season. Kendricks brings over a decade of NFL experience, including 9 consecutive seasons with over 100 tackles, and his knowledge of the game could be a stabilizing influence for the defense heading into crucial matchups against teams like the Tennessee Titans. Speaking of Tennessee, the Niners will face them coming out of the bye week in Week 15. With a quarterback like Cam Ward leading the Titans, the matchup presents a chance for San Francisco to assert dominance, particularly as they are currently favored by more than a touchdown. This game also sets the stage for the remaining stretch of the season, including high-stakes matchups against the Colts, Bears, and Seahawks, which could ultimately determine playoff seeding and NFC West positioning. Turning to the broader playoff landscape, the NFC picture is beginning to take shape. The Rams have risen to the number 1 spot, while the Bears have fallen to the 7th seed after their recent loss. The Packers have moved up to the number 2 seed, and the Eagles maintain the 3 spot with a strong record. Wild-card contenders like the Seahawks and the Niners are vying for positioning, with San Francisco holding a 9-4 record despite not playing during their recent bye week. The remaining games for the Niners, Rams, and Seahawks will be critical, and every matchup could significantly impact the race for the division title. The scheduling dynamics also play a role, with rest advantages and short weeks affecting team preparations, particularly for the Rams, who have to manage travel and recovery between challenging matchups. For the Niners, the focus remains on executing against Tennessee first, then building momentum through subsequent matchups with the Colts, Bears, and Seahawks, where each victory could elevate their playoff prospects and solidify their position in the NFC West. While the quarterback situation, roster adjustments, and defensive improvements dominate the narrative, the Niners season is also shaped by the remaining schedule, player health, and individual performances in key games. Each matchup presents an opportunity to improve the team's standing, experiment with younger talent like Curtis Rohr, and integrate players returning from injuries, all while keeping an eye on the overall playoff picture. With the team's depth, coaching acumen, and strategic moves, San Francisco remains poised to navigate the remainder of the season with playoff ambitions in mind, balancing immediate needs with long-term development and positioning themselves as serious contenders in the NFC West. The interplay between emerging talent, veteran leadership, and crucial roster decisions underscores just how intricate and strategic the final weeks of the season will be for the Niners. As we continue breaking down the Niners season, it's impossible to overlook the pivotal role that player health and strategic depth will play in the upcoming stretch of games. ERUPTS' potential impact on the defensive line cannot be overstated. When fully healthy, he brings versatility and explosiveness that the Niners desperately need to improve their pass rush, an area that has consistently struggled throughout the season. With the team ranking near the bottom of the league in sacks, pressures, and overall defensive efficiency, having a player of Mado's caliber on the field could be transformative. Alongside him, veterans like Clelin Ferrell and Keion White have the ability to line up at multiple positions, which allows the defensive coordinator to create mismatches against opposing offensive lines. The strategic deployment of these players in key situations will be essential in keeping the Niners competitive against high-powered offenses like the Colts and Seahawks in the remaining weeks of the season. Looking deeper at the linebacker core, the potential addition of Eric Kendricks is an intriguing development. Kendricks, with his 10-year NFL career and 9 consecutive seasons surpassing 100 tackles, would bring an immediate upgrade to the Niners' defensive front. His awareness, ability to read plays, and consistency in coverage would complement the young linebackers on the roster, while also offering a stabilizing presence on the field. Kendrick's experience could prove invaluable, particularly in high-pressure situations late in games, where every tackle, blitz, and coverage decision can directly impact playoff positioning. Integrating a player like Kendricks into the lineup also offers flexibility in defensive schemes, allowing the coaching staff to dial up complex formations and situational adjustments that could catch opposing quarterbacks off guard. Meanwhile, the quarterback room continues to be a storyline worth watching. Curtis Rohr's development is at a critical juncture. While Brock Purdy remains the starter and M. Jones is under contract for the 2026 season, Rohr has an opportunity to assert himself as a developmental QB2 or even claim the backup spot, depending on roster moves and off-season developments. His strengths as a pocket passer, poise, touch on mid-range and deep throws, and the ability to stay calm under pressure fit well with Kyle Shanahan's offensive philosophy. Even if he isn't the most mobile quarterback, Rohr's ability to navigate the pocket, make calculated throws, and absorb contact provides a level of reliability that could be crucial if injuries or trades alter the depth chart. The next few weeks of practice and games will essentially serve as his audition for a more prominent role within the team, making every snap, every drill, and every interaction with the coaching staff a potential stepping stone toward securing his position. In addition to the quarterback developments, wide receiver health and depth remain critical for the Niners' offensive success. Jacob Cowing's recurring hamstring injuries have limited his availability throughout the season, forcing the team to rely heavily on other contributors in the passing game. Maintaining the health of primary receivers like Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey is vital, as Shanahan's system thrives on timing, precision, and route execution. The team's ability to rotate receivers effectively, manage snap counts, and ensure consistent chemistry with the quarterback will be a major factor in maintaining offensive efficiency against tough defenses in the closing stretch of the season. Each matchup provides a chance to test these dynamics, and careful management of the roster could mean the difference between entering the playoffs with momentum or limping into the postseason. Turning to the schedule, the Niners' upcoming games carry significant weight not only for playoff positioning, but also for establishing momentum heading into 2026. Hosting the Tennessee Titans after the bye week offers an immediate opportunity to reinforce the team's strengths, capitalize on depth, and fine-tune the offensive and defensive schemes. Following that, a road game against the Colts presents a challenge, particularly with quarterback uncertainties due to Daniel Jones' injury and the presence of Riley Leonard stepping in. Managing these games successfully requires a combination of preparation, execution, and adaptability, especially considering that weather, travel, and short weeks can all influence performance. The Niners' ability to navigate this stretch successfully will set the tone for the critical final weeks of the regular season, where every win, every defensive stop, and every big play could have playoff implications. In the NFC West, the playoff race remains intense and unforgiving. The Rams currently hold the top spot, but their schedule is far from easy. They face Detroit at home, a team benefiting from additional rest, followed by a short-week matchup in Seattle, and then road games against Atlanta and Arizona. Meanwhile, the Seahawks continue to compete at a high level, with their remaining matchups including games against teams with varying levels of urgency, ultimately culminating in a head-to-head showdown against the Niners at Levi's Stadium in Week 18. That game could very well determine the division winner and influence the NFC seeding for the postseason. For San Francisco, securing victories in these final contests while remaining healthy will be key. The interplay between their own performance, the outcomes of rival games, and strategic roster management will dictate their path forward. The margin for error is slim, and every coaching decision, player rotation, and tactical adjustment will carry immense weight in the final standings. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers drifting out of Santa Clara this morning suggest that something far more explosive than any long run by Christian McCaffrey may have just shaken the 49ers locker room. Multiple voices close to the team hint that the star running back delivered a fiery outburst that left teammates stunned, silent, and, according to one source, absolutely unwilling to accept what he did. No one will say publicly what triggered the moment, but the murmurs all point in the same direction. A sudden internal rupture, unexpected and uncomfortable, involving one of the franchise's most respected figures. McCaffrey, usually the model of discipline and composure, reportedly let loose in a way few inside the organization had ever seen. Some suggest it came after a closed-door team session. Others insist it happened spontaneously, in the heat of a conversation that spiraled beyond repair. Whatever the truth, those who claim to have witnessed the scene describe it as an explosion. Sharp words, rising tension, and teammates exchanging long, bewildered looks afterward. One person familiar with the atmosphere said the room felt split right down the middle, as if players weren't ready to follow the emotional direction their star attempted to set. The heart of the rumor seems less about what McCaffrey said and more about how it landed. The running back's competitive fire has always been part of his identity, but insiders hint that this time it crossed an invisible line. Some players reportedly walked away shaking their heads, while others chose silence to avoid fanning the flames. And while the coaching staff has remained outwardly calm, the sense of unease lingers around the facility, as if everyone is waiting for the next spark. Still, those who know the team well believe this storm could either fracture the group or forge a harder edge. McCaffrey's voice carries weight, and if he channels this intensity the right way, it might become fuel rather than friction. For now, though, the only certainty is the unmistakable buzz surrounding the 49ers. Something happened behind those walls, something big, and no one seems ready to fully talk about it. The rumor mill keeps spinning, and the echoes of that reported explosion refuse to fade. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.